My grandfather was John Blackman from West Pittston, and in 1917 he enlisted along with a lot of other people in the 109th Field Artillery. He was second in command of Battery D. He was a first lieutenant, World War I. The American forces pushed the Germans northward, and at the time that the 109th came in, they were up by the little town of Pfeim on the Vesle River. 109th was providing artillery support. The entire 28th Division, the Pennsylvania Division, was heavily involved and sponsored rebuilding the bridge between Pfeim and Pfeimette. And that bridge was designed by our own Thomas Atherton, who was in the 109th at the time, and he's buried right over here. Colonel Atherton also designed a colossal memorial, and that's in the town of Varennes, where the 109th had their headquarters for the early part of the Meuse-Argonne campaign. The biggest battle that the United States has ever been in. 1,200,000 Americans were involved with that battle. The largest number of casualties of any war in the United States was in that battle, about 160,000 casualties and about 25,000 fatalities. When the battle started, the 28th Division, the Pennsylvania Division, was right to the left of the 35th Division that Harry Truman was part of. He saw a German artillery battery setting up and aiming right at the 28th Division. But it was to his left, and he was supposed to concentrate on anything in front of him, but not to his left. But he decided to disobey that order. Harry Truman may very well be the person responsible for me being here today, because if that German artillery battery had taken out my grandfather, I would never have been born. On October 2nd, about 5 days into the battle, the 109th was heavily engaged. There were two caissons, which are horse-drawn wagons holding the ammunition for the cannons. Each caisson had a team of like 6 horses. Horses were shot in both of the teams. And my grandfather went out and unhitched the dead horses and brought the 2 caissons to safety. And he earned a Silver Star for doing that. The story he used to tell us as kids was he earned the Silver Star for saving the caissons, but he went out there to save the horses because he was a horseman. It's the only real story he ever told us about World War I, to tell you the truth. I got the idea, someday I want to go over there. And 6 years later, I did. I decided I was going to take a bicycle trip through France and follow my grandfather's footsteps, the path of our grandfathers. La route de nos grands-pères. That's about the only French I know outside of oui. I was lucky to find a friend who speaks French and likes to ride bicycles and was able to do it with me, and the two of us had just a blast. When you get out into the countryside that was affected by World War I or World War II, when you mention that you're an American, they light up. They still have this deep sense of gratitude for what the United States did in those times. So the reception was just wonderful. I am a physician assistant, and I had a 24-year career with the VA in Togus, Maine. A big part of why I was motivated to do this was because of my respect for veterans and what they went through. Both my grandfather and my father, who was in World War II, I know how it changed their lives.